guys, and welcome back to the Say More podcast. My name is Phoebe Hagen. Today's guest, we have none other than Gilco Productions, and obviously, as you know, Mitch Gilbert. Is it Mitch Gilbert?
Yeah, it's Gilbert. So that's kind of
Okay.
like, so I did Gilbert and it's like Gilbert Company,
Uh-huh.
Gilco. I don't know.
Ah, got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I on Instagram it comes up as Mitchell Gilbert. So I was like, which way is it? Which way is the right way?
So my name is technically Mitchell
Mm-hmm.
Davis Gilbert. And you
Uh-huh.
can like scramble that and it still works. Like
It's
it's
still
like three first names, three middle names, three last names. So
yeah.
it's like you could kind of, I don't know,
You can make
whatever.
it
I didn't name
work.
myself. Yeah, but on Instagram, whenever they started doing the like you could pay for the blue check, I started looking at it and you get security in a line of contact to Instagram. So I was like, okay, I'll pay for it because I
Yeah.
prefer to have the security for the account. So even in my bio, it says I pay for the blue check. I'm not that cool. Um, but when you pay for it, it makes you put a picture of your face and it makes you have to put your like name as it is on your driver's license.
Okay.
And so, yeah, like in the beginning, like I didn't really want my face like associated with the brand. I wanted to just
Mm-hmm.
kind of be like, it's the brand. That way, as I build it bigger and bigger to more than was just me,
Yeah.
which I mean, I've got 5 people to help me now. So,
That's so
um,
cool.
as it gets bigger than more than me, I don't want people to just be like, well, Mitch isn't here. Like, this
Yeah.
is going to suck, or whatever, but I prefer to have the security, especially, I mean, I never expected the Instagram to grow into what it is now. So that was kind of like, once it kind of grew, I was like, okay, I've got this. Let's kind of like protect it a
Yeah.
little bit, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And that makes complete sense. And so obviously for anyone that doesn't know like who you are, and I'm sure everyone that knows about bodybuilding will definitely 100% know your company, your brand, and all that you are. But just give us a little bit of an insight of basically who you are and what you do.
so my dogs are going crazy. So if you hear those, I have no clue what they're barking about.
No, you're good. It should be
But
good.
so Gilco Productions, we started off just basically doing stage videos, and we work directly for NPC News Online and for the IFBB. So we're the official creative videographer for the IFBB and NPC News. And my light just went out. Well,
You're good.
dogs are barking, light went out. But
It's okay.
so they're really barking. Anyways, let's power through it. But so they basically we do all the stage videos for athletes, for the promoters, for the show. Mainly was just stage video. It's more and more morphed into as much coverage as we can do, whether that's front stage photos, backstage photos. I mean, we even do stuff leading up to the show that have nothing to do with the stage. And then it even morphed even more into like now we're starting to get our hands into production a little bit, from lighting, from pipes and drapes, screens, stages, like, just honestly just trying to do as much as we can.
Yeah. And did it always start off with that? Obviously, it didn't always like start off with that. You've slowly kind of built to that, which is really, really cool. And like, I think one thing that I really wanted to know was like how you got into it, because like I don't know when the first thing I saw of you guys, but I think it was a video of like Sydney Gillen. I know it was like one of the first like slow-mo videos, the ones that you're like really known, like the slow ones. And I think she was doing her like front pose, and I was like, this production level is actually like ridiculously insane. And I was like, who are these people? And I don't know if that was like first when you got into it, but I think that must have been around I maybe like 2021, 2022 maybe, or something like that. So like when did you get into the bodybuilding scene?
So I guess I can kind of like, to make it make more sense, I can kind of like take it from the top, right?
Yeah.
So I competed in wakeboarding. I actually won like advanced level WWA wakeboarding national championship in
That's
2012.
sick.
And in 2012, after that I got sponsored by Hyperlight Wakeboards, Nautique Boats, and for Billabong Clothing. And so I basically got free stuff. It wasn't like paid
Nice.
money, but a boat is a really big free thing to get. So we
You
had
got a
access to,
boat. That's
yeah,
crazy.
and so I was traveling around competing, doing as many wakeboard shows as I can, and I broke my back.
Oh,
And so I wasn't able really to continue to compete as much. So in that process of breaking my back, I was like, man, I don't want to quit competing because it's just hairline fractures. It seems way worse than it is, but it was still, I mean, like I was hurt, not able to pick up stuff, had to take a break from riding. And so it's like, hey, like let's take a break from this, but I didn't want to lose my sponsors. And so I bought like a GoPro and I was just like shooting stuff with a GoPro. And then that led to buying a drone. And then I ended up buying a camera and it just kind of like kept moving forward. And at that point, I was kind of like really getting the enjoyment from using a camera. So it was like, I kind of like this. This is cool. But I was only shooting action sports. So everything was like epic and like badass, right? So it's
Yeah.
like I shot wakeboarding, I shot motocross, I shot like people doing donuts in their cars and sliding
Yeah.
cars and stuff like that, and snowboarding and things like that. And I really had this like love for the action side of things. Well, so I had a buddy of mine, he threw like a Memorial Day weekend, massive, just like lake party. And when I came out to the party, I was like, I'm just gonna make a cool, just smash up Dan Bazarian style
Yeah.
edit of
Cool
the
video.
Memorial Day. Yeah, so I'm just like, people chugging alcohol,
Yeah, just like a badass
booties and
thing.
freaking wakeboarding and boats, and it was like, everything. So I'm like, I'm gonna make this like really cool video. And there was 3 IFBB pros that came out to that event. And so one of them was like, man, his name is Cole Kramer. He's like, he's a men's physique pro. He's like, can I get you to film me work out? And I remember thinking like 1001, 1002,
Yeah.
like Ron Burgundy style. Like,
You're
what
like,
do you
this is
mean?
gonna
Like,
be
work out?
so boring,
I'm
like
like,
just showing like you working out. Like, what do you mean? That's
I'm
crazy.
like, okay, you would just follow around. I mean, okay, sure. I mean, whatever. And like at that point in my career, I was kind of like, I just kind of filmed whatever anybody wanted. If you want me to film your dog taking a poop in the backyard, I'd film it. Like, it's like, we'll make it look sick, dude.
Yeah,
Like, we got
it
to
would.
catch him on
We'll
a crisp,
try.
cold morning so that the poop is steamy. Like, I was doing everything, right? I was like setting it up so that everything was really cool. And, so yeah, so I filmed him, and then like his friends were like, "Dude, this was sick. Um, can you film me?" And I'm like, "What the fuck? What's up with these people?" Well, at that time, I was charging like $60. Like I was like
Yeah.
$60, yeah. And I would do the video, and I would like throw in some photos on top of it. And they were like, "Dude, it's sick." So like, the fitness world kind of like. I ended up traveling to Bluffton. I shot like 10 people in a weekend. Like it was like I was constantly just like keep going and going. And so I actually met a friend in Augusta. His name's Justin Porter. He's like a famous wedding videographer now.
Hmm.
And but at the time he was just a little um what is it? Was it Vine?
Oh my god! Like a little, like a you do like Vine videos and stuff like that.
Like TikTok. It was like Vine. He was like a
Yeah.
Vine guy where like he'd be like
Yeah.
singing along to a song and like stuff like that. So
Yeah.
he was doing that. But he also was an editor. So he's editing for this brand called Violate the Dress Code.
Hmm.
It's like a clothing legging brand. I believe they're out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, somewhere northeast. And he was dating this girl and they got engaged. And she was like, "So we're engaged now. I can't have my fiance editing all these booties all the time. Like you're up all night editing
No.
booties. You're looking at all these girls with booties and edit them, and I'm just not cool with it." And so he was like, "Dude, I got a contract with them." He's like, "Do they send me tons of edits? And it's extra money." And I was like, "Well, what do they pay an edit?" And they're like, $50. I was like, "Damn, dude, I charge $60, and that's me doing the shoot and doing the edit. I'll take it." So
Yeah.
I took the contract from them, and I started doing a whole bunch of edits for them. And the owner was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about going and shooting some of these?" And I was like, "Yeah, what does it pay?" He's like, "We'll give you like $150 to go shoot them, and we'll pay for you to get there and everything." And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I was like,
Yeah.
"That's way more than what I'm making now. Let's go." Because I'm still at this time I'm still working with the wakeboard company, so like I'm just trying to squeeze this in on the weekends, like
Yeah.
make a little money here and there. And so he's like, "All right, I'm gonna fly you to Texas. I've got a bunch of athletes to shoot with in Texas." So I was like, "Okay." Well, like he flew me to Texas, but he only lined up like 4 athletes. So what I did is I reached out to as many people as I could while I was there, and I was like, "Dude, I'll shoot just free. Who cares? Like I want to shoot." And I was mainly focusing on the fitness side because I was like, "Man, I know I'm gonna shoot a lot more of this legging company." So I was like, "Let me just kind of get more involved on the fitness side of things." And what's funny is one of the people I shot while I was there is Brandon Hendrickson, but
That's funny.
yeah, so I reached out to everybody there, and so I started shooting a bunch of people. And one person I actually shot for Chris was a girl named Stephanie Ayala, which
Hmm.
she's married now, so it's McHugh. But she was at the time, I think, 3 or 4 time WBFF world champion. And so
Oh,
she
I
was
know who.
like,
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about now.
yeah, and she like now she's like, I guess would be like the Phil Heath of the WBFF. She's like the most winningest world
Yeah.
champion holder. Um, and so at that time she was like, I think I want to say this was like June, maybe 2018 ish. She was like, hey, like I got to go to Worlds. It's in Bahamas. I want you to come with me. We'll pay you to come with me. And I was like, girl, I don't have a laptop. I don't have a passport. I can't even get to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, you got like, 3 months. So if you can make it happen, let me know. We're happy to pay you to come. Like your work is great. And I was like, okay, cool. So like I literally expressed the passport. It came in time. And then like 3 days before I flew out for Bahamas, I literally went to Best Buy, bought a laptop and took it with me. And so I
That's
showed up there,
crazy.
and she was like, I'll help line you up with shoots with the biggest people at Worlds. Which Worlds is like there's Olympia, but obviously way
Yeah, it's
smaller
big.
scale.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
their
their
world, but
biggest. It was their biggest show, right? So they're like, I'll line you up with all the people to shoot. So she got me to shoot with Yarishna. I got to shoot with Hattie Bordel. I shot with her, obviously. I shot with a bunch of other names that were all like bigger names in the
Mhm,
industry and also had tons of bigger like followers social media wise. I mean, Yarishna had a few million at the time.
mhm.
So shot with all of them. And when I shot that, the owner of the WFF, Paul Dillette or whatever, was like, dude, your work is crazy. You're shooting, and then I'm seeing your work that night. They're like, we've never seen anybody do anything this fast. And
Mhm.
I was like, well, I don't know. I don't have anything to do. Might as
Yeah.
well edit it.
Yeah.
So I was just getting it done. And so he was like, well, why don't you come work for us? And so I was like, what does that mean? I have no clue. He's like, yeah, shoot the shows. Well, they only have like 6 shows, 7 shows a year in the United States. So I was like, okay, cool. So we did Bahamas, and then I started doing more shows. Well, at the same time, I had a friend. He reached out to me and he was like, man, like, there's this guy who says he needs a videographer and he's in Atlanta. He's close to you. If you're really trying to get in the fitness industry, you need to hit him up. And I'm like, okay, send me his Instagram. He sends me the Instagram. I click the Instagram. I look at it. And I'm like, he's got like pictures of his kids, his wife, and then like random clips of him just like working out in a garage gym. I'm like, who the fuck? I mean, he's got a lot of followers, but like, there's some dad who trains in his garage. I don't know if this is really gonna like shotgun my career or anything. And so like I like reached out and I was like, hey, I got a bunch of people to reach out, but told me to reach out to you, said you're interested in videographer. And I just like shot him like a high normal at that time. I was like, it's 450 and I'll do your video for you. And that included me driving to Atlanta, which for me is about just shy of 2 hours. And so the guy, Matt Jansen, responds. It's like, yeah, I'll take you up
No.
on it. Can you work tomorrow? And so I'm like, yeah, cool. So I go with him to go shoot. And, like, I can't remember I think the first time I filmed it was just him. And then it
Yeah.
was like him and Justin Jacoby. And then it was him, Justin, Nick Walker. And this was Nick
That's
Walker was amateur.
wild.
Yeah. And so, like,
Oh my God.
that definitely started the involvement with
Yeah.
bigger names, right? At that same exact time, I did a free shoot for this men's physique guy named Brett Collin.
Mhm.
And he's in Charleston, South Carolina. And he was dating bikini prep coach Casey Marshall, and
Mhm.
she owns Boss Bodies. And I did a shoot with him and a shoot with her. She was like, "I like how quick your work is and how good it is. Like, can you do some stuff for my team?" So like, I started doing stuff for them at national shows, and then she had me shooting her team retreats and like all. So I was doing the coaching side there and the coaching side for Matt Jansen, which hit Matt Jansen stuff was mainly like YouTube content, like fly on the wall, like these people want to see him train. And so I'm doing all the national shows. A whole year kind of goes by. We're going back into the new circuit of shows. And we get to North Americans. And now I'm filming Nick Walker. He's about to go to North Americans. He's trying to turn pro, which he turned pro at that show.
Mm.
And so at North Americans, and that was, I believe, 2020. So that was the year that they had it in a tent, like in a parking lot because of COVID.
Yeah. I remember that because I remember obviously it was like, and it was a built up stage, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
in the tent. Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
remember that because I remember Nick Walker did was it 2020 or 2019 New York Pro? I think it was 2019.
No, because he turned pro when it was in the tent, and 2020 is
No,
just COVID. So,
as an amateur.
oh,
I
I don't
think
know
he
as an amateur. I know he may have qualified New York pro as an amateur. That makes sense because he lives in New Jersey, and
hmm
then he went to did USA's, and I think he got second at USA's and didn't turn
got
pro
you.
that year.
Got you.
So the next year, but I kind of skipped a step. So in the national shows, Boss Bodies was covering like a hotel room and stuff. And
Nice.
so I had met a photographer, a lot of people know him, Will Whitman, and I had
hmm
met him, and I was like, he was like sleeping in his car and stuff. And I was like, dude, they pay for my hotel room. I'll just tell them to get me a room with 2 beds and you can just crash with me. And he
Yeah.
was like, okay, cool. Well, that was kind of the beginning of his career kind of moving in. And he got connected with JM before me.
hmm
And so JM was like, hey, I need you. You can work for us, work for NBC News. And so he was doing NBC News stuff, photography, his like artsy photo stuff. And so going into North Americans, it was the tent. And I knew Will, and he even had a camera in there to be able to get clips that I could use for the video for Nick, but no one was allowed in the tent. And towards the end, they're doing like the pose down for the over, like to win it. And I just said screw it. So I like snuck in the tent with my camera. And I'm like in the corner and I like got the camera and I'm like filming like for here. And JM catches me. Now I
Oh
don't know
no.
who JM.
The worst
I don't know
person to
JM.
catch you.
I don't know JM at all. Like I don't know anybody, right? Like I just see this photographer who looks pissed.
Yeah.
And he like takes me outside. Well, like there's a tent and then it's like a street and there's like 150 people like standing in the street like literally trying to like look through the tent like trying to see through the cracks, right? And so he takes me out of the tent in front of everyone and is
Oh my
just
god.
ripping me, man.
Oh
And
my
I'm like,
god.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I delete the clips in front of him and I'm like, he's still cussing me out. And I'm like, what else do you want from me? I've deleted the clips. I said I'm sorry. And he's like, takes a breath and he's like, look, they've tried to shut the show down like 4 times. And this show, us being able to have this during COVID, means a lot. And this show cannot get shut down.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I'm stressed out about it. You're right. You deleted the clips. You had no business being in there. You need to go. No one could really hear exactly what he was saying to me. They
Yeah.
just saw that he was cussing me out, and then I walked off. Well, I walked off, and I go over next to Matt Jansen because he's obviously standing in the street watching for Nick. And so I go stand next to him, and he goes, "Look, man, just don't don't stand next to me until this is done." And I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." And so like I walk off, and I'm like, "What just happened? Like
Who
what
have I
happened?"
pissed off? Who have I
Like,
pissed
who did
off?
I just piss off? And so, like, I go off to the side, and Kyle Warzall, he's a Texas photographer, huge guy. He's like probably like 6'4", 6'5". He used to shoot a lot for Iron Rebel and a lot of powerlifting stuff, but also did a lot with Hunter Labrada and like Texas people, right?
Yeah.
And so I went to sit next to him because I knew him as well. And I stood next to him and I was like, dude, what just happened? He was like, dude, you just basically pissed off the owner of the federation. He was like, your career in bodybuilding is over, which is kind
Fuck.
of funny. Kind of funny
Yeah, it's funny.
considering
It is.
where we
It's
are
like
now. But
big circle round. Big circle round. That's
yeah.
crazy. Oh my god. Well,
Yeah,
I
so
want to
that
hear more of
happened.
this story.
It's all done. And at that same exact time, that was like the first show that Will really like hit a home run for NBC News. And so they were kind of like, hey, like we're gonna bring you to Olympia. And so Will was telling me about going to Olympia, and I was like, hey, like, what does it take for me to get to Olympia? And he was like, let me just see if I can talk to JM and get you in. And so like he told JM, he was like, yeah, this guy Mitch, he's really good. Well, JM didn't connect the dots of who we were. So he allowed me to go to that Olympia. That Olympia, Janet won bikini. So whatever year that
hmm
was, Janet won. Phil Heath came back to stage.
I want to say that
I
was
think it's 2020.
2020. Yeah, I think that was 2020 when
Yeah.
Janet won.
Yeah. So technically that was my first ever Olympia, but I was only approved to do photos. And so I like kind of asked around. Everybody was like, yeah, the media pit for photos for the Olympia, you're like in a nosebleed. You better rent like a crazy bird photography lens because you're like a football field away from the competitors. And I was like, okay, I'm here now. Let's do it. So I bought a VIP ticket so that I could be closer. So I bought the
Uh-huh.
baddest VIP ticket I could find. And so like I go to my seat and like the stage is like this big, and the seats spraying out like way over here. So my VIP ticket was like the only thing I could really
My
see was the
side.
screen in front of me. And I'm like, oh my god, I spent $1,000 for this ticket, and I got no view. So I was like, as the show's going on, I noticed there's like seats that like nobody was sitting in. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go sit in one of these like close seats. So like I went to like maybe like the third row back and like the next section over, dead, almost dead center. And I'm sitting in a seat and there's like nobody's here. There's like 4 seats, nobody there. So I'm like, perfect. So I shot the whole show from there. And at the end, it gets to open bodybuilding, and this guy comes over and was like, hey, you're in my seat. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And like I slide over, and then like his wife was like, yeah, we actually booked this whole row.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay, do you guys mind if I sit here until the other people get here? I was like, I'm just trying to make a name for myself. I'm just shooting. And he was like, yeah, what's your name? And I was like, Mitch Gilbert. My company's Gilco Productions. And he was like, okay, cool. I'm Lee Labrala. And I was like, oh, cool. I recognize the name, but just because of Kyle, I didn't really. My knowledge of bodybuilding was so tiny. Like when I was with Matt, there was like a moment with Flex Lewis with Nick Walker, and I asked Matt if he was doing the North Americans.
no,
Yeah,
you
I was
didn't.
so, dude, I was so clueless. Like, he's like, bro, you're kidding me, right? Like, he's like one of the best bodybuilders to ever do it. I mean, obviously now I know,
Yeah,
but like, I never was like this crazy bodybuilding fan. I always just wanted to make really, really cool content,
yeah.
and
But I
I
think that's
never really
such a
chose.
great thing. I think that's almost like better that you came in with no knowledge and then learning who they were, because I feel like you were just being your authentic self, like coming in and just
Yeah,
doing what you needed to do versus like playing by the rules or being like tiptoed around because you know who people are and whatnot. I think you kind of just went for it and it so worked out in your favor.
it definitely helped me from a monetization standpoint because
Mm,
you see so many photographers, videographers, they enter the market and then they go, okay, cool. Well, this person's getting a free video because this is Phil Heath. So
yeah,
I'm just going to do it for free. Whereas like me, I didn't do anything. And they're like, hey man, did you happen to shoot me on stage? And I'm like, I'm sorry, man. We didn't film the whole show. We
yeah,
just shot who booked us. And they're
yeah.
like, oh, and then our content was good. So they want it. So the next show
They get it.
they booked us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we shot that Olympia, and that was just photos. And
Hmm.
so moving forward, NPC News was like, man, your photos, everything you did was really, really good. Let's have you start doing some stuff for me. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, I'm showing up. I believe it was Junior USA's. I'm at Junior USA's, and I'm just shooting for Boss Bodies. JM hasn't really talked to me about full time actually doing anything. They just kind of mentioned we'll work in some stuff next year. And so
Hmm.
I'm at Junior USA's, and JM comes up to me. I'm in the middle of shooting. He literally comes up and he interrupts the shoot and was like, hey, I need to talk to you right now. And I'm like, okay. So I put the camera down. He goes, you work for the WBFF. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, why? Why not just work for us? And I was like, I mean, I got my little pond. I got my boat in this little pond. I'd love to put it in the ocean. I mean, do I have a
Yeah.
job? Like, I mean, I'm making
Yeah.
money with them. And he was like, yeah. He's like, you come work for us. We'll put you on with NBC News Online. You'll work directly with us, and you just need to help just increase our coverage for the show. Our goal is to create the best coverage in bodybuilding, and we're trying new things. We've got Will doing creative photos, which are doing really well, and we're like, we want to try to add like a video aspect of it.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So like the next show was Pittsburgh Pro that I could do, and I showed
Hmm.
up to Pittsburgh Pro, and it was the first time wellness was in the United States.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And so I'm guessing that's 2021. My timeline might be completely off. I'm not sure
I think,
years
yeah, I
wise,
think it
but
was 2021.
so yeah, because French CL is 3 time, and we're in 2024. So you
Hmm.
have 23, 22, 21. So
Yeah.
2021 was the first. So Pittsburgh Pro did that. I made I want to say, an edit for every division. Like I shot the
Hmm.
show, but it was hard to do because it was like I shot the show basically in the theater by myself. And
Yeah.
so every division I made like a little edit. Everyone loved it. It started like kind of cranking up, going viral. So he was like, okay, cool, let's put you on the roster for more shows. So it was like I started doing more. New York Pro, kept doing all the shows. Tampa Pro, we got into Tampa Pro. We started doing more. It wasn't until Chicago Pro, when Chicago Pro was in Atlanta.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, I've been making these videos of the athlete, of like these montage, but I haven't done anything individualized of any athlete. Like I mainly just post like an edit because that's what everyone was doing, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, let's do an edit. So, and I posted just one clip of me on a gimbal moving, and it was a shot of Brett Wilkin. And it was perfect because he's posing for the night show and he walked off to the side. And so like I was able to get like close to him because he was off to
Yeah.
the side of the stage. And so I posted that clip, and that was the first time that we went like viral. Like everybody was
Mm.
like, is this guy flying a drone in the show? What the heck is this shot? This
Oh my gosh,
quality looks
yeah.
nuts. Like everyone was going crazy. And so I was like, man, people like to see just the athlete more than they like seeing the whole montage. The people who care about the montage are the memories that are caught from the people that are competing, but the fans, they just want to see the raw uncut shot. So I'm like, okay, so I'm like trying to think about how I can get a better setup, planning for the Olympia. So one of the things you had text me when you kind of sent me like, hey, we're gonna kind of talk about this. Whenever you asked me, you're like, hey, like what's like the worst show? My worst show experience I can say is my very first Olympia doing video, and here's why. So
Really? Oh my God.
I show up to the Olympia, and I'm like, okay, got the press credentials, everything's cool. I'm approved of the video. It's the first time doing video. Full send. I got everything to prove, right? So it's like I'm already making some noise. Let's bring the noise. And so I show up, and I feel like I'm doing good. I get there like 30 minutes before the show starts, 45 minutes before the show starts, and I get to the media pit, and there's absolutely no seats anywhere. All the media had been there, camped up, had been there forever to get the shots.
Oh
What a lot of
fuck.
competitors don't know is the media gets there like an hour and a half, 2 hours before to get the best seat.
So you don't get assigned a seat. You have to like just get your
Well,
seat.
yes and no.
Yeah.
Now like when you're there as the IFBB videographer, yes. When
Yeah.
you're there as like a magazine, yes. Like now it's more signed.
Yeah.
At the time that I went, it was kind of like there was two people that were assigned. Everyone else, here's a row you can get on. So it was like a
Oh,
battle for like the
fuck.
middle. Obviously, if you're the official stage videographer
Yeah.
or photographer, you get the dead center. Everyone else works around you. But so I get there and there's absolutely nothing. And so I'm
Fuck.
like, holy crap. I don't know when like oh, my shot's gonna suck. Like I bought all
Yeah.
this extra equipment. I rented lenses. I probably had spent like $1,000. I was already like deep in the hotel room, flights, everything, like because it was in Orlando that year. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, that was the first years in Orlando. So I was like, okay. I was like, whatever, let's gonna make the most of it. So I like set up off to the side. I'm like looking at the shot, and there's like, I think there's Tony. He's like marking the box. And I'm like looking at him on stage, and I'm like, this shot sucks, man. I was like, I need to be right there. And I was like, that's in the middle of the hallway. And like once the prejudging started, everybody was standing in the hallway. It was just like a crowd of people. And this is the reason why it was the worst show for me. So what I did is I went into the crowd, I put my camera on the gimbal, and I literally held it over my head like this and filmed the entire show like this
Oh.
to the point that like my back was like seized because I broke my back.
Yeah.
So
I
like
was gonna say.
my back was like seizing up while I'm holding it. I literally have to go down. I'm like, oh god, I couldn't breathe, and I'd be like, I don't know who that person is, and I'm like, oh, give me a break, give me a break, give me a
Yeah.
break. Who's that, Phoebe? Yeah, we'll skip her. Da, da, da. I'm just kidding. But no, like it was like I didn't know. I was just trying to film as many people as I could, and then
Yeah.
so like filmed it all, and then I went back to the room and just started cranking every video that I saw. Anyone who I saw that like made that first call out, I was like, they're obviously. I didn't even know the order at that point still of who was winning. So I was like, I'm just cranking everybody who's in that first one. So I started just posting videos, and obviously I was there for NBC News, so I collabed with NBC News as I was supposed to,
Mm-hmm.
and everything just started going viral. 6 million, 7 million, 5
That's
million, 22 million. Hottie Chupon video going crazy. Everybody, Rami, crazy. Everybody going crazy. And that was kind of the beginning. That was when I was like, okay, cool. Everybody likes these. Let me try to see if I can monetize it. And
mm-hmm.
so I started asking the promoters, hey, am I able to, offer stage videos? I'm there covering for NBC News. Can I offer this to the athletes? And, they allow me to do it because it was like, I didn't invent the stage video.
No.
Like there were tons of people way before me who filmed stage, but they filmed the stage for like, whether it's for broadcast reasons, for the promoter, for some magazine, or for like, a shout out page. It wasn't really like available to the athletes. Now, if it
Yeah.
got posted somewhere, the athletes could take it and use it, but it wasn't ever like hey, this is available. So I always try to say like I didn't invent the stage video, but I definitely made it popular.
Yeah, I
And
think especially like the main thing is the quality, like the quality, the depth of everything, like the colors, everything's so clear, and I think that's what like I personally anyway, like I that's the part that I love. Like you can just see everything, you can see the detail of the athletes, because that was one thing when I used to get videos like previously before, which again was like old and like back in the day, so obviously the quality might not have been that great anyway, but back in the day you
yeah,
get it, it's very like blurry, you can't really see, like you can't see obviously what your physique looks like, so you're like, oh, I don't really want to post it, like doesn't look that good. So I think that's a massive standout for sure.
yeah. It was definitely a learning curve, right? And so then it was like I kept doing the recap videos. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still
You're blurry. You're like pixelated right now. You look like one of those old school stage videos. I'm not sure.
I can see you, I can hear you as
Just
well.
okay. Okay. Cool. So yeah. So like I kept doing the recap videos at the end of the shows, and more I kept noticing that people were like, "Man, like how do I get that clip from the video where you're moving?" And I was like, "Okay, maybe people want it, so we'll just offer the slow motion cinematic shot." And it was like, so we did that, and it was like that took off, and then we noticed we are like, hey, so like everybody liked Will's photos, and but Will only did like 6 shows. Like he didn't do a lot of shows. He did like the big shows, and then he was chasing concerts or boxing or some other stuff. He didn't
Hmm.
do a lot of shows, and we were more like, hey, we're gonna pick up as many shows as we can. And so there's a lot of these shows that like didn't offer photography. So I was like, let's just start kind of doing a little bit of creative here and there. And then really this year we hit hard with the creative photos and just kind of push them to more shows. But yeah, now we're doing a lot. And one thing that I was noticing, I was like, man, why is my quality really good at some shows, and then other shows it's like it just isn't the same. And so with anything camera related, lighting is probably 80% of the equation there. And even to the physique, you can have the best physique in the world. If we cut all the lights off in the room, no one knows.
No.
So, if the lighting isn't good, you can't tell. So same thing with the stage videos. Like the videos weren't as good because the lighting was kind of like, your average promoter is a lot of them are ex-athletes, and they have a passion for the sport. They care for the athletes, and they care to produce the best event. And so they don't understand photography lighting. They hire a lighting company and they expect the lighting company to do their job. But
Mm.
the lighting company just puts light on stage. They don't sculpt. There's a reason why your physique looks the best in the hotel bathroom. It's because
Yeah.
that lighting is sculpting you. So like if you can mimic that lighting on stage, then you're sculpted and you're presented in your best light, right? So but lighting companies don't always do that. So I was like, man, let me just start bringing my own lights, and I'll start adding them to where I can control that variable. And that's kind of where we went down this rabbit hole. This year, I've actually been looking at buying truss, pipes and drapes, like LCD screens, like
All of it.
everything, so that I can kind of create a standard level of production at the shows that I'm at. Because what happened is, accidentally, I started posting. Obviously, I post my schedule so that the athletes know, like, hey, this is where we're going to be. Well, what happens is every beginning of the year, February, March, I'll post my schedule, and we'll get hundreds of DMs of people going, I've been waiting on your schedule to post because we pick our show based on where you're at. And I'm
That's
like, dude, that's
wild.
crazy. And I was like, I never like intended that to happen, but the fact that it's happened is like, okay, so now what can I do to make sure that the people who are choosing a show that I'm at, the show isn't top notch? Like, how can I help production? And in the future, obviously, I have to charge something because it has a ton of cost. But at the moment, I don't charge anything when we bring our lights. It's all completely
Yeah.
free. We fly with like 8 Pelican cases. Like we fly with all the lights for the show sometimes. Um, but yeah, and recently this year, I mean, I'm rambling, so I'll keep talking. But
No,
recently
you're
this
good.
year, I was like, like, how can I get back? I don't know if you saw the Nashville Fit Show, but so we
That's
gave
always been
away.
my favorite one. That's always been like when you've done that the last like couple of years, I've seen it, and the production. Like I actually want to do that show now because of the quality of your videos. Like it looks sick.
That's a really good show. The venue is like when you walk in it, it's like almost like football stadium feeling venue, but like on a basketball court. And so like when you walk in it, it's like this big stadium. It looks really cool. The colors are really clean. They pop. The lighting is nice. Like it's a really good show, and that's why I chose that show to be the first show that I did my Gilco Productions Award. And so now I'm going to start giving away Gilco Productions awards at different shows throughout the year. And so that was my first show, and I did the posing award and gave it to Pro Bikini. And so my thoughts were like, the IFBB is working really, really hard to try to get more prize money for all the divisions. But obviously that money's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So somebody's got to step up and bring the money, or there's no money to give, right? So, and I saw the money come in for pro bodybuilding. I saw the money come in for classic. I think wellness even got it. Like I saw people getting money, and I was like, what can I do to try to help some of the divisions that always book us? Like bikini books us, men's physique book us a ton, fitness book us a ton, wellness. Like these classes are all like booking us a lot. The open bodybuilders used to not book us that much. They book us more now, but I was like, they're getting extra money. I was like, how can I show love to the people who's always show love to me? And so I talked to Tyler, and I was like, how's ways that I can kind of help? Obviously, I can't cut you a check for 300 grand and sponsor everyone.
Yeah.
I can't. So we came up with the idea of doing the Gilco Productions Award. And so my first one was at the Night of Champions for best posing, and the judges pick. I don't pick. They pick the best posing. I believe Lana. Her last name is Dunbar.
Yeah.
I believe she lives in Cali. She had a really cool posing routine because she brought back some of the old school. Like at the end,
Yeah.
she'd do like the
I
old
saw
school
that.
bikini pose, and like, yeah. So I mean, again, I didn't get to pick, but I probably would have picked her. There's another Masters competitor who did a really, really good job, but the judges pick. So the next show, I'm doing Night of Champions, and that's a pro fitness show, and I'm giving away. Actually, I think we're going to end up doing 3 awards for them. We're going
That's
to do a
cool.
People's Champ Award and let people be able to vote. We're going to
Yeah.
do a most powerful routine. I want to see some big flips. And then we're going to do like really artistic, the ones who like really go out on their hair, makeup, outfit.
Yeah.
Like,
Like best dressed.
to like, yeah, almost like a best dressed, right? But like for some of the fitness girls, it's like you might win the fitness routine because you perform the best. But then there's some girls who are like, I remember one, yeah, I think it was Missy. She had like a full mask that was like
Yeah.
molded into her face. And it's like the effort that they put into the outfits sometimes isn't recognized. And that was kind of my thoughts behind that award, was to try to like help give back,
That's
and
cool. Well, I love that.
that was
That's
fun.
like your first thought. Like that's also now, like now that you have the what's the word? Like the services behind you, or the backing behind you, because you're more popular now, and like you've built yourself up like that level. You're like, what can I do to give back? Like, and that's amazing. And I think that's how it should. I don't get me wrong, it's not how it always needs to be, but I love that's where your brain goes. Like I want to give to the athletes as well, because they've helped, my business build and stuff as well, for sure. So that's really, really cool.
I think in the beginning for me, it was like I started reaching out. I got a camera and I started reaching out to other creatives, and I was like, man, like, what kind of camera do you have? Like, how the hell does your stuff look this sharp? How can I do this? And 9 out of 10 were all kind of like, oh yeah, man, you just gotta, you'll get it with time. Like they always gave me some like beat around the answer.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever really like helped me. And so for me, it's like I told myself, no matter where we went, if any creative reached out to me, I'd do my best to try to help them. And honestly, I helped tons of other videographers like around the world, like the India production, Tokyo production, Battle Up Media in Texas, Victor Kahlberg over in Europe. Everyone, literally, I'm
Yeah.
sharing export settings, camera I'm using, lenses. I give them. I mean, I give them the equation. Like, and my saying has always been, "There's enough bread for all the pigeons." Like
There's
we
enough to
can
go
all eat.
around. There's literally enough to
Yeah,
go around. Like it doesn't need to
we can all.
be, I'm only knowing this information and you are not allowed to get in. Because what's that going to do to help
Yeah.
one bodybuilding and just them grow? Like it's always nice to be able to help someone that just asks you those questions.
Yeah, and I think in the beginning for me, obviously my main goal was like, hey, let's create a living for myself doing this. And like once you kind of accomplish that, and then it was like, hey, I want to be able to create a good living for the people I have working for me. So obviously my brother was the first one that I brought in. And it's like, okay, cool, I've accomplished that. And then now it's like, oh, we got more people. And it's like, okay, now creating a living isn't really the goal anymore. Like
Yeah.
that's
You've
kind of
achieved
on
that.
autopilot, right? It's like now I think to myself, what can I do to leave an impact on the industry? Like, how can I do something that changes it all? Like, and now it's kind of like, like people ask me, like, what's the end goal for you? The end goal for me, I think, is more when I'm done doing this, I want people to like talk about the age of Gilco Productions. Like people talk about the Ronnie Coleman era, or like the back then it's like this guy made a difference, and like I go in history as being one of the best to ever do it. That's kind of the goal for me, corny or not corny, whatever
No,
that
I
is.
don't. I
But
think that's amazing because you're already making that name for yourself. Like that was one thing I was going to say is that you can see a lot of people in different countries now, different ends of bodybuilding that are like not copying, but like showing their work similar to how you're doing it. Because I don't say copying. I feel inspired by your work. Like they're inspired by your work to show case of how good it is. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's really cool that you're inspiring a lot of people around the world to do the same. And like again,
well,
like
I mean,
they're
most of
asking
them
for your help.
I'm giving them the equation.
There you go.
I'm
Yeah,
telling them exactly
exactly.
what we're doing. Like,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, we can't be at all the shows. We
No.
can't. And I think that it's a disservice to the athletes to not be able to have the ability to have high quality videos of their, time on stage. Like even my website, like our, like, I don't know what you'd say, motto, whatever is, it's kind of like, it's your memories. We just hold the
Yeah.
camera. Right. Like,
Yeah.
and it's our job to make sure that we document that the best we can. And that's kind of like, we kind of take like more of like a serious approach to it, and like that's the worst. Like nothing's worse than like the number changes. Like you tell me your number is 369 and it's 396, and then we don't have you marked and we miss you, and it was like you're a true novice competitor. Like nothing really hits. Like I mean, it
Yeah.
happens. Like we miss people. We have to give refunds. We have to like tell people, I'm sorry, I didn't film your first time ever on stage, or like I know you just
Yeah.
won your pro card for the first time ever, but like we didn't even have you marked. Like it happens, and that's part of it. But like
Mm.
the feeling that I get when it happens lets me know that I still like, the care is there, the drive,
Yeah.
like the right reasons, and that's
Yeah.
to me, that's the main focus.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool. And obviously I know like with that huge production, like even you literally told me with North Americans you had 300. Well, obviously I don't know how many people were in North America, but 300 people alone just in your productions. Like
Yeah.
that's
I think there's
wild.
1,200 people total on the show.
That's
We ended up
crazy.
with a little over 300 bookings, and this was the most bookings we've ever had for any show. So it was pretty crazy.
That's actually
And
wild.
our company, since I started it before bodybuilding, has almost doubled every year. So
That's
it's
wild.
crazy. We're offering more services, doing more stuff, like just trying to do our part to try to like push the industry.
Yeah,
So
be better. And I think that's
yeah,
honestly amazing. And that's how it needs to be. Like you're only just going to get better and better each year, and that's what we want, and that's what we want to see. I mean, what are your obviously, like you said, your plans are to just kind of go out with a bang and just be like, I want to show like the legendary side of like Gilco Productions and stuff. What is your dream shoot? Like, have you ever done your dream shoot, or like is there like a specific? I say dream shoot like that's very vast, but like, is there anything specific that you would love to shoot? It could be outside of bodybuilding, it could be in bodybuilding. Like, is there one thing that you're like, that would be insane, or to provide that production level for something specific? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't really have like like even like people are like, what's your dream car? I don't really have a dream car. I don't really have like
Yeah,
a dream house. I don't really have like, for me, it's just always kind of been like, I feel like my life is constantly just like you're going down this road and it splits, and it's just
yeah,
like make the best choice. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm pursuing this whole wakeboard career. I've dedicated 15 years of my life to it, but this photography career is really taken off, and it's going to cause me to have to get rid of my wakeboard career. I see the potential there, and I literally had to abandon 15 years of my life
yeah,
to chase this photo side of things. And so it's like I've always just tried to like keep my options open. Just like
hmm
the dream for me to be like, oh, this is my dream car.
it
The
cuts other
dream's
options
always
off.
changing. It's always changing. It's like asking you what your dream physique is. Like you might be like, I just need like 2 more inches to my glutes and I'm there. But guess what happens when you get those 2 more inches?
Yeah,
You need something that, you know what I'm saying? It's like anyone who's truly like obsessed with what they do. I feel like you're constantly searching for that next level. And to say there's a dream thing to do implies there's a top.
yeah,
And my brain is like, there is no top. I'm just gonna keep just working my
climbing.
way up, like in the more. So now it's like, I feel like the levels in photo video are not as easy to get better. So now it's
Hmm.
like, what can I do to try to help in other places, whether that's production or whether that's in ways I can give back to athletes or, and I've even spoke with Tyler and sent in to try to get my own show. I don't know when that's going to
That's
happen. I also,
but again, it's
also,
climbing. It's climbing. Like it's when you
yeah,
have something in your brain, you're like, this is an idea. Let's try and put it out in the universe to see if it even is a thing to work. And if it is, fair enough. Like
yeah,
that's so cool
exactly.
though.
Yeah. And that's kind of a thing. I mean, like, and obviously, if I were to have my own show, I'll try to make it different than everybody else's. But every promoter tries to do that, right? They try to make something special because, I mean, there's competition. So it's like, if you want to have a successful show that does have good payouts, that does do everything the athletes want, people got to go to it, And
Yeah.
that's kind of like back to the whole award is like, I feel like in this industry, it's not this industry. This is our industry. And it's
Hmm.
like, it's only going to be as good as the people who help build it. It's like if you sit around and you wait for the people up top to do something, it might get done, it might not. But it's like
Yeah.
if everybody does their part, well, their part could be a Gilco $1,500 Gilco Productions posing award, or their part could be just buy the damn live stream. Do
Literally, it
like
could be
look
that.
sponsor the show. Like just go to the show and watch it. Like everybody wants to see bodybuilding have these like six-figure prizes at every pro show and big sponsors like Ford and like they want to see Rolex sponsoring. They're like, why don't we have all this? And it's like the problem I think is that bodybuilding is so individual, and in a way you kind of have to be selfish, right? Like
Hmm.
you've got to have a selfish mind because it's like, I really want to go celebrate with my sister for her birthday, but I can't because I have goals. I've got to focus on my goals. So I'm just going to go say hey to my sister, happy birthday, and then leave. I can't go party and have cake with her because I got a place to be, right? So in a way there is this selfish mind in this industry that like kind of has to be present. The problem is I feel like so many people apply that mindset to so many avenues of their life, and it like just doesn't lead to like them helping as many people as they could. Dude, the fitness industry is huge. Like if we all
Mm.
unite, dude, there's no reason why this thing
Can't
there's no
explode.
ceiling. There's
Yeah.
no reason why it can't just continue to climb. There's no
Hmm.
reason why, Dan Solomon said his dream was to have the Olympia in a NFL stadium, like in a stadium, 60,000 people watch, right?
That would
Like
be sick.
there's no reason why it shouldn't be there. Like it's 100% possible, and it just starts with everybody doing their part.
Yeah, that's 100% so true. I think like that would be absolutely incredible if it was like that span of a production.
Crazy. That would
Firstly,
be
how
crazy.
if that was even a thing, how would you and you were on the production for that, how would you then what would be the first thing you would do to try and make that production happen? What would you have to do to because it will be basically doubled in size. What would you have to do production wise to
Like, and
provide for
and
that?
I do think that in the bodybuilding industry, and honestly, in a lot of avenues in anything in life, you can grow to death, and you can kind of overproduce things. And I think the production of the Olympia is nice where it's
Mm,
at. Um, it doesn't have to always be more, right?
yeah,
You can just increase the seats, you can increase the prize money, you can make things bigger. It doesn't have to be like, we don't have to have jets flying in and
no,
hazing and crazy stuff and like, like because at the end of the day, like I think what a lot of people get away from is like everyone there is there for the physique.
hmm,
Not one person is there for the production. They're all there for the physiques for the athletes. And so like it's kind of like going somewhere and ordering a milkshake and you get like a cup of whipped cream and a cherry. You're like, what the
yeah.
fuck is this? You throw it in the
Or
trash,
you get the
right? You don't
cake
go
on
there for the
top.
you don't go there for the whipped cream and the cherry. You go there for the milkshake, right? And so like that's what I feel like a lot of people in an effort to like next year we got to be bigger and better and bigger and better, bigger and better. They a lot of people I think are losing sight of the goal, and the goal is like the physique's got to come first. How can we like these physiques better? How can we create a better experience for the athletes? How can we? And I think that if people focus on those avenues, um, it only continues to grow from there. You see promoters of Fuad did it for the Detroit Pro. He made it an all
Hmm.
black backdrop. Now, I think that's great for like the open guys and maybe even classic. But I do think that the females would prefer something a little better. There's a
Yeah,
show we're doing next year. It's called a Twin City Classic or Twin City. They basically do it to where the background looks like the roof of like a Rolls Royce. It's like the star spangle, like
that's
all the little
cool.
dots, but it's still black and it's all very like simple. They have a lot of colors, you know. And I think that that's more appealing. Like it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be pitch black dark.
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
I think
you
they
can get
think
creative
that.
with it.
I think you think that because
Yeah,
you think check-in photo black, that's where your physique shows more. But I think then
yeah.
other aspects don't show as much, for sure.
But you see a lot of really good promoters who listen. I mean, a perfect example, Tim Garner. I mean, if you look at Tim Garner's banner 3 years ago, there was a whole paragraph on that thing. Like it
Yeah.
looked really big and like it was to some people could be described as distracting to physique. Well, he listens. He listens to the people saying like, hey, like we don't want that. If you look at the Tampa Pro, you look at the Chicago Pro, he redesigned his banner completely. The logo is smaller. It's less distracting. Honestly, I would argue to say that the Tampa Pro background is probably one of my favorite backgrounds of the year. It had like a double beach or like a sunset
Yeah,
with
that
like
looks cool.
the shots all look so poppy, like vivid, really good for both male and female. You know, so people are learning and they're evolving and they're making it better and better and better. But it's like when they say that less is more, it's kind of the same situation, right? Like I feel like people got to realize that like you keep growing and eventually it's like you're doing so much that it actually takes away from the main reason why you're there.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, in my opinion, I think that you can accent a show without having to add extra fog or lights or effects. You can produce it bigger without having that, you know. So,
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really answer your question, but
Yeah.
I'm not a top tier level I'd say production person, like I definitely think in simplest terms that I'm actually capable of doing. But I mean, I would pull inspiration from like big festivals. I would pull inspiration from, the music industry because they do some of the craziest productions. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at
You
some of
see
the
all the
stuff that like,
trippy cool things like that would
yeah.
be cool to, and even in like a bodybuilding perspective, that would be very cool to see, for sure. But like you
Have
said,
you been
less is
to
more, for sure.
have you been to Zook
I
in
have,
Vegas?
yes.
The
Yeah, yeah,
nightclub?
yeah. Yeah.
Could you imagine if in Zook, they just put a bodybuilding stage and lit it correctly. But instead of putting all the screens and stuff all behind them, you had the ceiling and stuff moving for the audience.
That actually
Like,
would be pretty sick, to be fair. Because
like
it's
if
like the
if the
dynamic of it would be really cool.
yeah, because now you're having this production increase for the audience that doesn't affect the overall presentation and look for the athlete, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you're still keeping in mind that people are here for the milkshake.
Hmm.
But you're getting really fancy with how you put the whipped cream and the cherry on top, So
Yeah.
maybe that's a bad fitness analogy. I mean, all these people who eat chicken rice. I'm over here, fat boy giving you the milkshake. I'm like, let's go.
They're probably drooling like, I want the milkshake now. Thanks, Gilco.
They're all on a little treadmill watching this. They're like, damn it, Gilco, why are you talking about milkshakes?
Yeah, but it is actually it's a very good analogy though. It actually is like it makes complete sense. And I, like you said before, less in so many situations, just even in life, a lot of the times less is more. Like it's not about doing the most all the time. It's a case of how you do it. And I think that is perfect. Like how you perceive like all your production and stuff, it honestly is perfect. So that's really, really cool to see. And that's really cool to hear like how that's how you perceive like the industry, and that's what you want it to be. So I mean, final last little question before we finish was, how can people make the most out of this when they buy a service from you? How can they make the most out of it when they're on stage, in terms of either posing routine? Because I know you've said on, like, I've seen on your stories before where you're like, make sure you don't do this, make sure you don't do that. Like, is there anything specific you would say for the athlete to do, like either when they're posing or doing something, that they can just better the service or just better
So,
themselves on stage?
so I talked with JM about potentially doing a video that we can make more public, but
Hmm.
it basically just explains what the tape on the stage means. I
Yeah.
know to a lot of people, you're like, this seems like, okay, cool. It seems obvious, right? There's the box. These are line. The expediters do a good job putting you where they're at. But it's like if you know what it means and you can have a visualization of what that's supposed to mean, then like it would help you move forward. Perfect example. That box in like the lighting and everything is tuned for the box and the line that moves on the front of the stage. That is where the best lighting is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they'll do is they'll move backwards away from that box until the lighting starts to fall off. Now, it's still falling as they move away, but there's a point to where it's like, okay, now it's a significant point to where like, okay, now it's too dark.
Yeah.
And that's usually where they put that line in the back. And that
Uh-huh.
line in the back is where they tell the girls to walk to, but it also that's part of the show. So when they walk there, they're still in the light.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of figure girls do it, wellness girls do it a lot. Sometimes bikini girls do. Not as bad with the bikini girls. Wellness girls, 100%. Figure girls, 100%. 9 out of 10 of them are going to be posing in the darkness in the back. They will pose in the very back. So if you're the kind of person who likes to come in and hit like a couple little like welcoming poses and
Mm-hmm.
then walk into the box and hit your poses, identify that line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, at an NPC level, straight to the box.
Yeah.
They're not giving you that
Obviously.
much time. Get to the box. At a pro level, if you're going to do those intro poses, look for that line because that will identify the end of light. And like I said before, you can have the best physique in the world, but if you're in the dark, no one knows. So you're wasting those poses in the dark. I know a lot of photographers who, if they pose in the back, they won't even click the button. They'll just wait till they
Yeah.
come into the light. Because it's like, why click the button? Then you're going to have these shitty shots and you're going to blame them on me, but it's because you're in the dark.
Yeah.
But so if you like those little intro poses, I would say yes, identify that line and do them there. And
Mm-hmm.
it might only be 3 steps into the box. That might be as far away as you are, but at least you know that when you're hitting those poses, the judges can see you, your fans, your family, they can see you. The photographers, videographers can get really good content of you because you're in
Yeah.
the light. So that
Yeah.
would be tip number 1 for pros. And then I would say for amateurs, especially at the national level. So at a national show, there's so many. I mean, there's so many people that have to get across stage. And to be honest, never enough time to really do it in a very warm and comfy way. Like they got to move you quick. And
Yeah.
so, a big show like the North Americans, like Nationals, Universe. I mean, hell, all the national shows are so big. You're talking 1,000+ people at every one of those shows that are having to go across the stage. So bikini girls, especially, I see it happen all the time. They'll hit their front pose in the box, they'll go to their back pose, and then the MC, because they're in the back pose, and the next competitor has 15 steps to make it to the box, the MC will start announcing the next competitor while that girl's in the back pose. So they're in the back pose, just getting all settled, thinking they still have 10 seconds, which they do, but they're in their back pose. And then all of a sudden here, number 87, we got Christy Doe. And you're like, oh crap, well, I'm done. And they just kind of wave and walk out of their back pose. And so what happens is you lose that transition back to the front. You lose that front shot. You lose those additional shots. And then from a video perspective, you walk out of a back pose.
Yeah.
And then so, you already don't get a ton of time as an NPC bikini girl. You only have 2 poses to hit.
Yeah.
But when you usually hit one pose, another pose, and then back to the first pose. If you
You don't
just
have a lot.
legitimately just hit 1, 2, it affects your video, it affects your photos, it affects everything. So I would just say, like, do what you practice. I mean, obviously, don't sit up there for 2 minutes
Yeah.
milking it, but like the next girl's not going to Spartan kick you out of the box. Like,
No.
you're not going to be like doing your pose and they're going to be like, get out of here. Like, it's
Imagine.
not. That's not going to happen. They're more than likely to do this like really awkward slow walk where they take like really tiny steps
Small
instead of
steps
normal steps.
until you're
They're like,
gone. Yeah.
okay, and then you're out, and then they like speed up and then hit the pose. Like. But yeah, that's probably my biggest tip. I think with that is don't pose in the dark. Hit the box, dude. Here's what's crazy. I know you bikini. Men's physique guys. This is a talk to men's physique guys. Quit trying to juke me out. Like, I swear, they'll act like they're about to turn around this way, and then they'll be like, arm, and oh, just kidding, we're coming back. Like, they'll be just spinning around, and then the men's physique guys pivot. And so that makes it difficult, too. If you're in your front pose, and then your right foot never moves, but your left foot moves
Mm-hmm.
like this,
Yeah.
what happens is you just stepped a foot and a half out of the box.
Yeah. So
And
you're
so
like, oof.
So in an ideal situation, the line is in perfect lighting. The sad news is there's maybe only about 40% of shows that actually have perfect lighting on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So when you leave that box, you're quite literally putting yourself in worse lighting. That's quite literally hurting your physique.
Mm-hmm.
So hit the box really and just try to pose in that box instead of pivoting, rotate, So that that's more to the guys. The girls don't pivot as much. I feel like that's a little
Yeah.
manly, but you'll definitely spin around, like there's a
Yeah.
transition step involved. And you'll get so nervous. Some girls will literally see the first piece of tape and they'll start posing there. And I'm like, girl, you're 4 foot away. Like,
Yeah.
we're not there
Move
yet.
it.
Like, yeah, keep going. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. Like, just try to, the individuals realistically is not, you could probably fall on your face in your individuals and get back up and still win the overall of the entire show.
Yeah.
Fall on your face, get up, hit one front pose, and then still win the overall of the show because the individuals is kind of like social media.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone looks badass by themselves. It's
when you're
everybody
next
looks
to
like
everyone.
a monster when you're by yourself. It's when you put all the monsters side by side that you figure out who's the real boogeyman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
and that's why it's like, if you're really gonna nail posing, comparisons is where it matters. If you want to add some sass and like a hair flip and some extra stuff, focus on your individuals when you do that. Like that's when you're really getting good photos and videos. The comparisons, not that the judges don't look at you during individuals, they definitely look at you, but comparisons is what matters.
Yeah. And that's what I think I mean, obviously I'm a posing coach. A lot of people are posing coaches, and that's what mainly people have to practice. I think sometimes miss. They'll not practice
Yeah.
holding the poses, holding the stamina. And I've seen it at shows, where a lot of times where people start to get tired, and you can see that show through in videos and all that type of thing. So yeah, that makes complete sense. Like making sure that comparisons is the main focus is so important. So, so important.
And I think that mindset wise too, like if like, hey, this is individuals, I can have a little more fun with it. That's kind of your moment to try to like be there, be present, kind of enjoy the time that like, I mean, you earned it, you paid for it. This is this is your time. Like enjoy that time, because like it's crazy. Like you blink and it's like show day's over, you're already back fat and sassy, and it's like, are we trying to pick another show? Like it's like, wait, didn't I just have ab veins? Like why am I look like I'm pregnant right now? Like
where is everything gone? What the fuck?
Yeah, like how did this happened so much quicker the other way than it did getting here? Like what the heck? Like
And do you know what happens? You look back at your videos, and literally only the other day I was looking back at like one of your videos, and I was like, Jesus, that wasn't even that long ago. Like, what the fuck happened in between that time?
I always bust Lauralie's chops. I'm like, I can always tell when Lauralie hits the off season because her face gets it first. She becomes like a little.
Oh,
Becomes like a little.
I feel like everyone is though. Everyone's like little chipmunk's face. Everyone's little chipmunk face all the time. I think it adds personality. I always say it's my
It does.
personality coming back to my face. So
I tell my wife, I'm like, I like it because it's like having two wives. I've got like skinny little lean bean, and then I've got off season. It's like, let's go.
You got juicy curves, juicy curves.
Yeah. Nobody's husband's complaining about the off season. That's
No.
for sure. But
100% not. Well, that's hilarious. That's so funny. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was actually so much fun having you on and stuff like that. Like, you were one of the first people that I actually wanted to bring on because,
That's awesome.
again, I wanted to know more about you. I wanted to know more about like Gilco Productions and like how it started and like what it became into where you want it to go and all that type of thing. And I think a lot of people would appreciate just knowing who the man behind the camera is now. So, but yeah, that's super exciting. So, and if obviously everyone knows where to go to kind of find you in terms of like Instagram and stuff like that. But is there any other kind of places that they can kind of find you or anything like that? Or is main thing Instagram?
my main thing is Instagram. We try to respond to everyone. I mean, there's times where we're getting somewhere between 400 and 800 DMs a day, and we respond to everyone, even if it's just like a like. Like
Nice.
we respond to every message. So it's like if I don't respond, it's been too long. You don't bother me at all. Just be like, yo,
Yeah.
And I go,
sauce.
hey, what's up? Sometimes, I mean, just responding to DMs, I feel like it's a full-time job, but
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's definitely Instagram's the best way. We're working on redesigning our website so that it's basically show based. Like our
Hmm.
website currently now is by the packages, and we notice that there's a problem where people are like, "Hey, I'm doing Ben Wieters, but I'm trying to book you for your slow motion shot, and like I can't see it." And it's like, "Oh, well, we can't do it for that show because we're also at Jen and Mark's show, so half of the team is there and
Yeah.
half of the team's here, so we don't have enough people to offer every service." And
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, I just wasted 2 hours of my life trying to find it." So we're going to change the website to where it's like show based. So when they click the
Yeah.
show, it then shows the services available and stuff. So,
Yeah. That
but
makes
yeah,
more
it's not
sense.
just me. I got a whole team. I can't do this by myself.
That's
It's
good.
nice to, I guess, get to be the face every now and then, but this is impossible by myself. I definitely got
Yeah.
a big team behind me. So,
Yeah, but that's cool. That's cool that you've built it up to where it needs to be, and like you just have so many people around you that like absolutely love it. Like I love seeing all the work. I keep seeing everything at the moment, and I'm just like, this is just so sick. So yeah, it's very, very cool. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if there's anything else that you or any other people that you want us to talk to or interview, please comment down below. But yeah, we love you guys so much, and we will speak to you in the next video.